So I wanted to talk about the CAGED system and kind of a little plan to help learn um, the CAGED system and understand all the information that is there. And this isn't going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time to do this. A lot of people have heard of CAGED, and maybe they've seen that, hey, you can play a C here, or a C chord A shape here, or a G shape C chord here, or an E shaped C chord here, or a D shaped C chord here. When I first saw Caged, I saw that, and I thought, okay, um, I understand it, I guess. What good is it? What does it do for me? Um, and there's so much more information. But that's the first step is learning the shapes and how to play them outside of the open first position. So you've got to kind of move your fingers around and C shape, A shape, G shape, E shape, and D shape. But a lot of people know the E shape from practicing bar chords or the A shape from practicing bar chords. The C shape, maybe the shortened version instead of using your pinky, playing the four strings. Um, so you may already know bits and pieces of these shapes and how to play them in other positions. But it's good to know them all and being able to play and at least visualize and see, hey, my fingers should be here. Maybe you can't get them to go there, or you get them to go there, but the chord doesn't sound good. That's okay. You learn the shapes and keep working on them, and like everything, it'll come to you. Um, Secondly, is to learn the root strings. I think is extremely important. Um, C has root strings on the five and the two, A on the five and the three, G on the six, three, and one. E is on six, four, and one, and D is on four and two. That really helps because once you know that, you can pick any spot on the fretboard and you can build a chord, a caged chord, based on that root note. So if this is your root note, I just randomly picked a spot here on the fretboard. I don't even know what string I'm on, to be honest with you. I haven't looked at it yet. I look down, it's on a G. And I look at my caged chords, which one has a root on G? The G shape does, and the A shape does. Two shapes. So I could make this note the root in using this shape. We'll call it the G shape. Or I could use it on this shape. We'll call it the A shape. So knowing those root strings helps you to be able to do that and see it. You may be playing. There may be a chord in a song that's played in this position, and you have no clue how to play um, let's call it a an A. You have no idea how to play an A chord in this position. Here's the A note, but that's all you know. I've got an A note, but how do I play an A chord there? Um, well, it's on the B string. So you look at the caged chords and you go, which one is on the B string? You go, hey, that would be the D chord. So a D shape here would give us our A chord. Or it's the C shape. So there's our A chord based on that root note with the C shape. Extremely helpful. Each one of these shapes has a pentatonic pattern that lies underneath it. First pentatonic pattern most people learn is the minor pentatonic pattern 1, often played here is an A minor pentatonic pattern. This pattern, if you already know it, that's great. You just already know the G shape pentatonic pattern. So what? If you start with your pinky on the C note, play that same exact pattern. You're now playing a C major pentatonic in the G shape. But there's your G shape pattern, derived off of this G shaped chord. So the major chord. May sound a little confusing at first, but basically there are 5 patterns that if you learn them and learn where the roots are, you can play them as a major or a minor pattern. So they work as both, depending upon what note you're starting on. So learning those 5 patterns allow you to play up and down the neck. For instance, I looped a little chord. I'm going to do this little C. It's just a C, F, G. But, so it's in the key of C. So we look at, use this as an example. We've got a C note here. We've got its octave here. That's a C note. So I'm going to pick that note. It's on a G string. There's my C-shaped or G-shaped C chord. Here's my G-shaped pentatonic pattern. What comes after? So if I'm looking at this, say here's my G. What comes after G in caged? E. There's my E-shaped C. There's my pentatonic pattern. So what comes after E in caged? It's D. Here's my D-shaped C chord. pentatonic pattern. It all fits. So knowing those 5 patterns, you can solo up and down the neck. Um, there's also major scale patterns um, that are within each shape. You probably know the E shape major scale pattern. If you know any major patterns at all, that's one of the first ones that people learn. But there's also an A shaped major scale pattern. Real similar, you just have to compensate for the string difference there since you're starting on the 5th. There's a difference when you cross over. You have to compensate for the difference in the intervals here between the G and the B string. Again, I'm not here to show you all that. I'm just trying to give you an overview, and maybe we'll break down these various different data points here within each shape. Um, so we've got our arpeggios involved in each one of these. So here's your E shape, and there's an E shape arpeggio. Here's an A shape. There's an A sharp arpeggio. Um, and all the other patterns have the same major scales, arpeggios. Um, within each shape, there are triads. If you look at the 3 thinnest strings on this E shape, you're going to see a triad. Call that an E-shaped triad. If you look at the A shape, there's a triad. That particular triad's also used in the G shape. Like I say, some of these shapes are not really user-friendly. Bits and pieces of them are, though. But knowing that shape is the first step, and then finding where it can be used and how you can use it. Learning the roots of each shape, the pentatonic, the major scale, the arpeggio, and the triads, all out of CAGED. Who would have thought, huh? That you can take something and develop all that information out of just a shape. But that's the key, is to see the shape, know the patterns, know the arpeggios, know the triads involved in each shape, and that's going to help you understand the fretboard and help in riffs and songs and chord progressions and your soloing and whatever comes down the pike for you, you'll have a good foundation of information. So I hope you found that helpful, and we'll expand on that. Have a good one.